Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am Gillian Berry, and today we have an absolutely incredible guest with us. She has been requested on my channel many times. Her name is Mimi Kirk, and she has been a long-term raw vegan. She is not technically fully raw vegan right now, but she's going to share her amazing story with us. And I have a great list of questions for her. And I also reached out to you guys, my subscribers, to see if you guys have any questions. And you guys had so many questions as well for Mimi. So I'm going to try ask as many of those as I can. So let's get started. Mimi, how are you?
I'm great.
That's great. You look amazing.
Thank you.
So
80,
I'm so
I guess you know that, right? I'm 83.
Yeah, you're 83. So you are just an idol of mine. I see you on Instagram promoting your art and just hustling your business. And I mean, to me, you just have so much youth, and you just remind me of like a driven career woman in her 30s or something. And I think it's incredible.
I feel that way. Until
Yeah.
I feel like I'm 30 till I look in the mirror and then I realize I'm not.
No, you look amazing for 83. You look so great. So I was so excited to interview you today. So I want to ask you, so you're very well known for raw veganism and for being a long-term raw vegan. So people want to know so much about these long-term raw vegans. So I want to ask, like, when you first started being a raw vegan and what led you to that?
Well, I started out in my 30s, early 30s, as a vegetarian and was raising my kids that way. And then I moved to be a vegan. And I would say that I went off plant-based eating for a little while in between, maybe a couple of years here or there. But then, I was eating that way. And then I went to see my annual checkup when I was in my 60s, late 60s. And he told me I had high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and he gave me a prescription. Well, my family is all used to being on prescription drugs, excuse me, and that's not something I wanted to do. So I started looking online, and I saw raw vegan, and look, people were saying, oh, it was really good. It's a good way to go, and it cures a lot of things, but it didn't interest me because I love to cook. And I thought, I'm not going to eat carrots and celery stick. What am I going to do? I like to cook. I didn't really understand the depth of raw food. It seemed to me that salads was raw, and what else are you going to eat raw but salads? And but I thought I have to try it because I do not want to fill this prescription, these 2 prescriptions. So I called one of my daughters. I said, hey, I'm going to try this raw food thing. You want to do it? She said, okay, I'll do it with you for a couple of weeks. So the first week it was great. Second week was unbelievable. I'll tell you, I looked in the mirror, my eyes were white. I looked younger. I felt younger. I had this amazing energy boost. And I thought, this is it. I'm sticking on this thing. Well, 6 months later, I went back to have my blood test, and the doctor said, those prescriptions are working great for you. You're perfect now. Everything is down to normal. And I said, I never filled the prescription. And his jaw dropped. And I said, how come you don't tell people to change their diet? Because that's all I did. And he said, because a lot of people won't take the time to do it. They won't listen. And rather than have people get sick or have heart problems or anything, I tell them to take these medications because that will help. For somebody who can make a commitment to themselves, you don't need the medication. And I was so glad to hear that, because I knew for myself that food was medicine. And so then I went out seeking better raw food. I didn't like a lot of it that I tasted that was already online. It isn't that it's new. It's been around for eons, it's really been around for years, but it started to gain popularity around that time. And so there were some books out and some things online, and it wasn't to my taste buds. And so, because I love food and I love cooking, so I started kind of making my own food and learning how to do that. And then I loved it completely. And it was way more than carrot sticks and celery. It's anything. It's pizza, pastas. It's like whatever you have a taste for, you can make it a raw version of it. And the desserts, I don't think there's a better dessert than raw desserts. I think they're all the best desserts ever. And once you eat raw desserts, you really don't want to eat regular desserts anymore.
I agree with that. And I just have to say, while you're talking about food, your book, I have your book, Raw Vitalized, which many of my subscribers and viewers know about, but it's amazing. I can't recommend it enough as well. So yeah, go ahead, go on. Sorry.
Well, I want to tell you how that book happened. My daughter that went raw with me, I wrote 7 books in my 70s, all on raw foods and juicing and teas and, all health stuff, but raw food recipe books. And my daughter said she had gotten off of eating all raw. And she's a very busy mom with 2 kids, and she runs a preschool, a private preschool, very big preschool. And she was so busy, said, I need to have things that are a little easier because it is a commitment to make raw food. I'm being very honest about that. You have to get, learn one recipe and learn another recipe and then another one. You have to take your time to build into it. For most people, I went cold turkey because I had, some health issue I wanted to clear up. So that's why I went for it immediately to bring down my blood pressure and cholesterol. But we wrote that book specifically for her because she wanted quick foods that didn't take a lot of equipment and things she can fix ahead of time, pre-make food, so she can have it for the week, have her breakfasts for the week and bring her lunches to her school and so forth. And so we started writing this book together. I said, well, maybe we'll just do a little ebook. And then I had to check with my agent to see if I had anything with my publisher that I couldn't do it. And she said, oh, they want this book. They definitely want it. So then we ended up publishing it. And so this is how this book happened. This is for busy people. We made it 21 days because it's going to give you a whole lot of recipes that you'll use, whether you're all raw or you just want to include more raw into your diet. I think that book is great. They're all really good. My first book, Live Raw, is a bestseller. It's still selling like crazy. Yeah. It's more involved recipes. You need a dehydrator and a food processor. On this one, a food processor or a blender or just a knife and a chopping board will do for you. But the recipes in there are tried and true, and they are lasting forever. And they're 10 or 15 minutes. Once you get all the food in the house, you can, it's got a weekly kind of shopping list. I think it's a great book. I recommend that highly for people who want to try eating raw foods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And were you always this successful? I mean, to accomplish so much in your 70s and your 80s, I really, really admire you for that. So I have to ask, were you always this successful, or did the raw diet kind of bring these extra creative ways out?
In some ways, I think I've been very entrepreneurial. I was a stay-at-home mom. I got married at 17. I was a stay-at-home mom. And when I was at the age of 29, my husband was killed in a private plane crash. And before that, I modeled. I worked as a showgirl in Las Vegas. I didn't have any ambitions for anything because my parents, my mother told me at the time, you either become a secretary, this was in the 50s, mind you, you're either a secretary and you have to take shorthand, or you get married. Those are your 2 options in life. Wow. And that was 1956. That's what we were told.
Wow.
And I didn't go to college or anything. So I got married, not because I didn't want to be a secretary. I knew how to take shorthand, but I fell in love at 17. And who doesn't? And yeah. And then at 29, I'm widowed. And so now I don't know what I'm going to do. I didn't take care of anything. I was really a housewife, and my husband handled everything, all the money. He had his own business, and we were left with debt. And I have 4 children, and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I thought I would get into the film industry, since I was born in Hollywood and lived there in LA. And my brother-in-law helped me get in as a screen extra. And I started working and doing some acting parts. I didn't want to act. I just wanted to support my family, to raise a family. So I was Mary Tyler Moore stand-in, and I designed all the clothes for the character Rhoda on the Valerie Harper on Rhoda show, and just kind of moved around in that business, being extra and standing in and doing designing. And that was my last time really in the business, when I worked for Mary for years and then for Valerie. Very classic shows and really great. But then I really didn't want to do that anymore. So the first thing I did when I left the business is I started a jewelry company. And then I thought, this didn't mean anything. I want to do something that makes a difference in people's lives. So I ended up selling that company, went to work for a billionaire family, ran their household, traveled all over the world with them. It was an amazing job. It came in contact with amazing people. I was on the board of 11 charities. And then I wanted to do something else, of course, because I don't know what that is in me, driven to do new things maybe. And then I started an environmental newspaper in Los Angeles, and I ran that for a year. It was awesome.
Wow.
I I really thought I was really made a difference, and that's what I really wanted to do. And then I moved to Taos, New Mexico, and I did charity work, helping people raise money for their events. And I had another thing, I was booking speakers, always doing something new. And then I invented a board game for women called Cowgirls Ride the Trail of Truth. And that set me out on my entrepreneurial ship, really, where I started to get more confidence in myself. Now, this is in my, I guess I was in my 50s here. And so I made this board game and it became very popular. So for 10 years, I ran a business that had this board game and other very, what can I say? The cowgirls of the past, the rodeo ladies that with those big hats, the ones you always see that look really cool and they had split skirts and stuff. That was the era of women to me that were powerful and strong and independent. They were the women that worked outside the house. The women in the house were prairie madonnas. These cowgirls were rodeo ladies. They were getting $1 to jump off a cliff, you know, on their horse. And the men were getting paid more. So way back then. So I just fell in love with that spirit of those women. And my first book was called Cowgirl Spirit, which was way back when. And I ran my board game for 10 years at trade shows all over the country. And then I wanted to retire at 70. So I decided to sell my business. And just at that time, I was entered in a contest by PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. And I won the contest. It was for the sexiest vegetarian over 50.
Wow.
I was 69, I was 70. I just turned 70. And I won the contest.
Amazing.
In their 50s, and I won over them. I know because I was 70, I won it. And it started me into this, and I had been eating raw food for about, for about a year, then 2 years, I was eating raw foods. And all of a sudden my popularity grew and my Facebook page grew from like 100 to thousands, and it kept going. And then people were saying, can you put your recipes somewhere so we can see them? So I decided to write a book, and then there I was. And my popularity in this field has been for the last, since my 60s. And now I've spread out to painting. And so
and your paintings are beautiful.
My kids say this doesn't surprise them because you can hear that my background, my career, I've always done what I felt I love to do. I have to be passionate. I don't want to do anything I'm not passionate about.
Same here.
So that's what drives me. And I've had a lot of experience in businesses, owning and selling businesses and growing businesses. And only because I'm passionate am I successful. And I know that that's all it is. It's my energy and it's not my knowledge in business at all. It's because I believe what I'm doing and people get that. And so, when I wrote books, I would go out, I was speaking all over the world with my raw food thing, giving workshops, giving retreats. And I was doing that for 10 years, all through my 70s. That's what I did. And then, COVID hit after I'm 80. And then I started baking sourdough bread because I had to have a challenge. And that was definitely a challenge. And then once I perfected that, am I still on with you?
Oh, no, you can't. Yeah. There. Yeah.
Oh, there was a call or something just came in that was weird. But anyway, then when I perfected that, I was sitting here, I've got to do something else. And here it was, painting, because I could do that by myself. Because I don't go out with speaking engagements right now. It's still not a time to be, doing crowds and doing workshops and stuff. It's just people don't want to be out there any more than they have to be. So then I started painting this last year, and I've been selling my paintings like crazy.
They're stunning.
I thank you. And I'm just loving it so much. So
good.
I'm cooking and painting. I've got a spatula that I use in the kitchen. And then I think I gotta go use this on my paints. And then I'll go downstairs and put it on the canvas and then go back up and wash it to make dinner. I think you really have to do what's here in your heart. What your passion is, not what you think you should do, just what you feel you should do, because then you should do everything you love. And if you're doing things you don't love, you need to change that, because life goes like that. And you need to be doing what you love. Age should not stop you. I tell women, you're never too young, but you're never too old. And I just feel like I have a new life and a new career in my 80s. And I feel healthy, thank God, because if I wasn't eating right, I wouldn't be healthy. I know that that was more than anything. Now I exercise. In the last few years, I'm very good. I walk 5 days a week. And my boyfriend just bought me a mirror, you know, the mirror exercise mirror. He just Christmas, which is so much fun. And I didn't like to exercise in my early days. I did some yoga and stuff like that. But then I really realized it's so important. You have to walk every day. You have to exercise and you have to eat right, because you could, I don't care if you're 30 or in your 20s, you feel great, but you're putting money in the bank by taking care of yourself. So then when you get older, you can be active, you can travel, you can do whatever you love. If you're sick, maybe not so much. So you want to keep yourself healthy. My family's health history, I just want to say, is not good. Everybody in my family's been on drugs. They've had cancer, they've had diabetes, they've had Parkinson's, they've had heart problems. I have nothing that my rest of my family has.
So what do you say to people who say that's genetic? Because you know, a lot of people say it's genetic.
Well, now I know it's not, because my sister, who's 2.5 years older than me, has had cancer twice. And, she's okay now, but her health is not anything like mine. And the rest of my dad died early. He died in his early 60s. My mom lived to be 95, but she took blood pressure medicines and she had several little strokes. And, what kept my mom the way she was attitude. She had a great attitude, but 95 is a good life. But she did have to deal with a lot of health issues later on in life. So now I see that my diet, a lot of people say it's genes, but there's a book called The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. And he's a biologist, and they have now found the fact, scientific proof, it's your cells that keep you young. It's not your genes, it's your cells. And your cells change over all the time. Your heart changes every 5 months. All the cells that run your body are changing all the time. They're going out and new ones are coming back in again. This is what your cells do. They reproduce themselves. As you get older, you get less cells. So your cells are a living thing. If you're negative, your cells are reacting to that. If you're positive, your cells are reacting to that. And I talk to my cells. I've been talking to my cells now for a few years, and because I know they respond to me. And it's just like, I know it sounds awfully weird, but after I read that book, Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, and he has some YouTube videos out, he's a very interesting man to watch. I realized that it's like water, whatever, that's all living in your body. Your cells are living. When you feel negative, you're affecting your cells. When you're stressed, you're putting stress on your cells. You want to keep your cells healthy, and it takes your mind and your what else you do positive for your body, which is food, meditation, all those things that you want to do that are positive for your body. If you're saying negative things about yourself, you zip that up, because that's not doing anything good for your body. And so I could feel it even when I talk about myself there, I can feel them dancing in me, and they're very happy, and I think that it changes your mindset once you know that you have some control over your health. Now you can get things, people will get things, but it's how you handle that and the control you have over it. Like I have autoimmune disease, and it comes out in different ways, but it doesn't come out. I mean, I have arthritis. I have something called Dupuytren's contracture. I have a few things, but they don't show up. I have them. I've been told I have them, but they do not show up in my body.
Like you don't deal with the symptoms.
It doesn't. I don't have to deal with any symptoms, even though I have that. So just because your doctor tells you have something doesn't mean you have to own that. You can do something different about it. You work on it. You do whatever you have to do. You don't eat gluten because that aggravates arthritis. You do whatever you can health-wise to keep yourself healthy. And I can tell you it works. That's what I can say. It has worked for me. It's worked for a lot of my clients that I coach. It's worked for me. And it isn't just the food, as I'm sure you know. It's the mind, the body, the spirit. It's all works together. You have to eat the right food, but you have to think right. If you eat something that you know is not good for you, if you put a good spin on it, that time that you eat it, and don't give all that negative energy, oh my God, I should be eating this piece of chocolate or whatever it is, you're putting all this negativity in. just eat it and enjoy it and go back the next meal and have a good meal. I mean, don't people just torture themselves? Everybody has to, can I drink coffee? Can I drink wine? Well, if you want that stuff, you can have some of it. You just have to not make it your major thing. You don't have to have coffee every day. Have it once in a while, or find an herbal tea that kind of makes you feel, I like matcha tea myself. You know, I make a matcha latte. I don't really need coffee, but if I'm in Italy, I am certainly having a cup of coffee, you know. So, and I'm not a wine drinker. I'm not an alcohol person, but if I want to take a sip and taste some good vanilla wine that somebody has, I can take a little bit. I can't drink much, but I take a little bit of that. But if you want a glass of wine every day, a glass of wine, not two. The men in Sardinia, which is in the blue zone, one of the places that live the longest, they drink 2 little glasses, and I mean little glasses, not our big wine glasses.
Yeah.
They drink glasses of this wine every day called, it has resveratrol in it, which is a double antioxidant. And they sell that here. It's called Cananu wine, Cananu. But anyway, yes, you can have a little wine. You can live your life. It's not torture to eat raw foods. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
Even when I go out, people, I order something. Can you fix me a plate of raw vegetables and some kind of olive oil dip or something? And they go, oh my God, I should have ordered that. I have no problem eating out, being with other people. I just don't make an issue out of that. If my partner doesn't eat what I'm eating, that's fine. I don't give in because I just do what's best for my body. Health is wealth.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the most important thing is to take care of your health and don't have to torture yourself. This raw food is not a bad thing. It actually makes you feel good. That's what we all want, right? To be energetic. Yeah. So, wow.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how, sorry?
You got me all wound up there.
No, that's good. You're passionate about it. Yeah. I was going to ask you how you manage socially. So being raw so you're not fully raw now, but you were fully raw for a long time. So how long were you fully raw for?
12, 13 years.
12, 13 years. And so when you first turned raw, you said you felt amazing. Did you experience any detox symptoms at all when you went raw? Because I know some people experience that. I didn't. I felt amazing right away too. But
no, I felt amazing right away. Cold turkey. Once I had those 2 prescriptions in my hand, it was like, no, thank you. And I did this thing because I just saw my family, and that is not the direction I wanted to go in. If I didn't stop it then, I know it would have gotten worse. And so I feel from that time on until now, I've been in the best health of my life, the most energetic, I wake up, honestly, I don't have an age consciousness. I wake up like you would wake up, or anybody in their 20s and 30s would wake up, just ready for the day. I don't have aches and pains, none of that. And I think I would have gone downhill, honestly, if you want to talk about genes, if that had anything to do with it. If I had it in my mind, it was my genes, I would have just given up and said, okay, forget it. I'm just going to take this medication and that's it. So I think, I think it's very important to get checked up every year. You need to know if you have something. People don't go to the dentist. They don't get their eyes checked. They don't go to a doctor because they think they're doing the health thing. You still have to check yourself. I still go every year and get a blood test. I still want to know, is my B low? Do I need to take some supplements? What else is going on in my body? Do I need some more D, or is my D good? So I take things when I need it. I take supplements when I need it. And then as soon as I'm back in the level, I don't take it for a while. And then if I need it again, I'll go back again. So I go with my blood tests to see what happens and go from there. And I take D, I do take D, and I only take B on occasion. I don't really, I feel like I'm getting everything from my food. I really do.
Yeah.
And juicing is number 1. I mean, I think that if I had to tell anybody one thing to do to change their diet, it would be to juice every day. A green
I
drink.
just had a green juice. It just gives you life, makes you feel so good. Yeah.
It does. It gives you could tell right away when you have that compared to eating pasta, what the juice makes you feel like and what the pasta makes you feel like.
Oh yeah.
And then you say, oh, look, I started out with the juice. That's great. I feel good. So maybe I'll have a big salad for lunch with all kind of veggies in it. You can buy, when I say I'm not always eating raw, it's things like I make great cheeses. I have a YouTube video making cheese. I love cheese. It's always hard for people to give up, but not in today's world. You can buy amazing cheeses that are vegan.
Yeah.
And so 2 things that are important to me: vegan 100% and organic always when I'm eating at home, but not always when I'm out. And I don't always eat organic when I'm out, but I don't eat out that much. But mainly, especially now, I don't eat out very much. But you can find cheeses, you can find everything you need to go vegan. And I went vegan originally for the animals, not because it was a health issue or anything. It's because I did not want to kill animals. I didn't want to be part of the torture and the pain and whatever goes on with these poor creatures. And I still feel that way. My whole basis is not, we don't need animal flesh to eat to be healthy. Obviously, I'm totally healthy. We don't need that. And I don't need to wear animal products. I don't need leather shoes. I don't need a leather bag. I don't need that. Well, there's vegan faux leather everywhere that looks great.
There is.
I think for what we're doing, eating raw, we're living in a great time for it because you can go to the market and find things. Now, I want to mention something else for a lot of people that are worried about raw because they say they can't eat cold during winter. And what people don't understand is that you can warm your food. You can have hot teas, you can have hot soup, you just don't want it like over 118 degrees, 115, 118 degrees. But you can still warm your food. That's what your dehydrator is for. A stuffed portobello mushroom comes out of there warm. Your lasagna, zucchini lasagna comes out of there warm. You can make all the foods that you make warm. You might not be able to get all the greens and the stuff, but you can sprout to continue your greens during winter. So it shouldn't stop you. I like warm, warm foods during cold weather. Although I live in San Diego, so I don't have that much of cold weather. But no,
I do it in Toronto and I manage great. I feel amazing. There's lots of things.
Yeah.
And even the blender, like the Vitamix, even naturally warms things up a little bit. And it's more, it's not all food, like moving around, cleaning the house, getting outside, like that naturally warms up your body and stuff like that too.
And then use spices.
Spices are big.
Spices to warm up are amazing. I don't like hot food, but you put a little chili, a little dash of something in there that's a little spicy, and it warms your body up right away. So that should not scare people off that they have to eat cold food all the time. Because that was one of the big things I get letters of. Well, I can't eat cold food. I live in a cold climate, so during the winters I can't stay raw. I can do it other times. No, you can stay raw. You really can. You just have to learn the little tricks to do it. Yeah. And, I bake an apple pie, I make lasagna, people come over for dinner. People wouldn't even know unless they knew I was raw that I was giving them a raw meal. They wouldn't have any clue. Yeah. They think, oh, that pasta is great. That spaghetti is great. Well, it's a zucchini, So, people just don't know. And I have cooked for chefs and I have cooked for gourmands, people who eat at restaurants and they're very particular and who are food people. Guy that started the Food Network, and I made food for those people and they think it's delicious. And it really is good. But the one thing about raw food, even if you have a cookbook, use your own imagination of what you want in your taste buds. Everybody's a little different, a little more garlic, a little more black pepper, a little less garlic or black pepper, or you say, oh, I could chop up some celery and put in here, it would be good. I mean, there's just so much good food, really so much good food.
And do you use salt? That was one of my viewers' questions. Jordy asked, do you use salt? You do, right?
I use pink salt, Himalayan salt. That's the salt I use. I never use white salt. I use the pink salt. And yes, I like salt. I mean, for some people, if they have high blood pressure, you have to cut back on it. There's lots of herbs you can use if salt's not good for you. But each person's a little different. Like maybe, some people tell me there's certain vegetables they can't eat, or they need to steam things sometimes, or whatever. You have to adjust this whole raw thing so it works for you. So, I use salt because I like the taste of salt. I use tamari. That's a salty thing. Sometimes I don't add salt when I'm using tamari. And I use maple syrup for my sweetener. My first book showed I was using, what is that other syrup that was so popular?
The agave.
Agave.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't use that anymore. That's like fructose to me.
Yeah.
So my sweetener is dates and maple syrup, because maple syrup, it's all still sugar, but maple syrup has very, very high minerals in it. So you have to balance what you're having, and the minerals in there are worth it for me to have a little maple syrup. But dates are great. Dates are great for sweetening, smoothies or whatever else you want. And So yeah, and I like juicing better than smoothies, but smoothies are easier and faster for most people. But just think about when you're juicing, you need a lot of produce to make a nice sized juice. And when you're making a smoothie, since you're putting almond milk or coconut water in or something, you can't pack as much vegetables into that blender.
Mm-mm.
So I would rather have more vegetables and take the time to make a juice. But if not, it's still good to have a smoothie, whatever works for you. Don't make yourself crazy. You know, there's work it out. You don't be rigid. I mean, I thought it was so funny when I was all raw, 100% raw. People say, how much percent? Well, why does I don't know why that matters. So you have something, you put something in a spice or something that's not raw, or some one little thing, okay, you're not all raw. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So
or the cashews or something.
I'm 98% raw.
Yeah.
Whatever. Why does it matter? You just do your best. You follow the recipes. You add your own taste to it. Your body is going to tell you what makes you feel good. And a few little cashews are not going to take you out of eating raw. It's just not going to. So that's where I say, don't get fanatic about this whole thing. Just do that kind of thing that works for you.
Yeah, I agree. And I have to ask, although I'm pretty much 100%, but yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. You have good points with that. And I have to ask, have you ever done a juice cleanse? Do you do juice cleansing or?
Oh, yes. In my book, The Ultimate Book of Modern Juicing, I have 3 different kinds of ways to do juice cleanses, because I think one juice cleanse doesn't work for everybody. And it depends how long you want to do it. Like you can set yourself for 3 days and then you go, oh, I feel great, I'm going to do it for 5. 5 is really good. It's the first few days that are usually the most difficult for some people, but you have to make sure you have enough juices waiting in the refrigerator for yourself. You have to prepare ahead of time and make sure you have the juices. And some people they can't drink 8 ounces of juice at one time or 16 ounces at one time. You can split them up and have an 8 ounce at one time. And then in 2 hours, have another juice. You don't have to stick to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can drink juices throughout the day. You can have warm teas. You can even make juice soup, make a green soup and warm it for a meal, a dinner. And it's made out of broccoli and everything you'd make in a juice. You're just warming it in your blender. So that also makes a very good juice. I think juice cleansing is very important, especially if you feel like you've eaten too much or you feel bloated, or let your body tell you when you need it. If you have any illnesses you're trying to get rid of, I always think that you should do it with somebody that knows about juicing. I don't think if you've got cancer or something, you should find out more of what to do. And juicing is a great thing for people with cancer. It really is. The Gerson Institute, there's a wonderful film, it's called The Gerson Cure, I think. I think you can find it online. It really talks about juicing for cancer. And I know lots of people who've used juicing to heal themselves from cancer. And it's not the only answer, but it's an alternative way. And it's really good, even if you're working with your doctor, to find out if you can make juices and herbal teas, because those 2 things are healing for anybody, honestly. When I wrote my tea book, herbal teas are awesome. Green teas and black teas and the teas that you can have you're not allowed to say it cures anything, but in other countries, they use these herbal teas for healing. And I think that's another really good thing to heal yourself with if you have any issues. And, a lot of people wait till they're sick before they change their diet.
That's what happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens. They think nothing's going to go wrong. Then all of a sudden something goes wrong, just like it did with me. And I was already, vegan and vegetarian, but I didn't realize that it doesn't matter. You still have to, things can still happen, and you still have to move up, keep, getting better. Maybe you eat raw 3 days a week. Maybe you eat raw in the morning and afternoon, and then at dinner you cook yourself a vegan meal. Maybe you decide that works for you the best, that you have juice in the morning and some fruit for a snack, or some nuts later in the day. And then you have a great salad. And by the way, the salads are awesome.
They really are.
Faux tuna, faux egg. I mean, there's like garbanzo beans can taste 1,000 ways. So can a zucchini, the master of all foods, you can make that taste like anything you want. So yeah. And I think that's what you do. You discover these amazing things. And I think it's very artistic and creative to eat raw food.
It is. And you fall in love
That-
with it. Your taste buds change and you absolutely like, I never miss cooked food ever. And my family's not raw. Like my kids aren't. And I love it.
Yeah, I know, it's really great. But I always introduce people that aren't raw to desserts, because even my family, when they didn't eat raw foods, they'll eat the desserts and they think they're great. But whenever I go to a family thing and we have a potluck, they all eat my food, kale salads, they eat everything of mine first. They always love my food. And I just learned to make so many dishes. There's nothing that stops me. My second book was called Live Raw Around the World. And I traveled with my boyfriend, who, by the way, takes all the pictures. He takes all the photography in my books.
And I have to say, I heard he's 20 years younger. And I think that's
Yes,
amazing. That's awesome.
And I wear the poor guy out. He's running crazy with my stuff all the time. But we've traveled around the world. We went to 7 countries. And I started making foods from all these different countries by just using the spices and changing the flavor of a zucchini or a tomato or whatever. And that was a really fun trip for us. My publisher said, you can do any book you want. I said, okay, I want to travel and see what I can make raw food in different countries. We're in Thailand and Italy and Greece. And we just went, it was just an amazing trip. And that's when I realized that you can have any taste you require. You want Mexican food? I got these great street tacos. That's in actually the Raw Vitalized book. It's really delicious. And I serve those when I'm doing a workshop, a retreat or something, and people just love the food. I've had retreats with all raw foods. I used to do retreats in Spain when I lived there. And I just think it's a great way to go, not only for the planet, which is necessary right now for us to be more conscious about everything we do. None of us are perfect. We're still getting packages from Amazon and driving to the market. We're not doing everything perfect, environmentally sound, but you do as much as you can. Again, don't beat yourself up. You don't have to be over the edge and make other people wrong for not doing it the way you do it. Just focus on yourself and do the best that you can and be good to yourself and love yourself. So don't be hard on yourself. This is not supposed to be a difficult trip in life. This is supposed to be pleasant. So make this raw journey and this journey of eating healthy and this journey of taking care of the planet, make this good for yourself and for people around you. Mm-hmm. And I think that, I've been to raw festivals. There was one in Prague I spoke at, and I've been all around the country to people doing raw festivals. So I'm always amazed when I'm traveling, people understand what raw food is now. There's raw food restaurants everywhere. And Germany, I mean, I go to Germany and speak all the time there. I'm very popular in Germany for some reason. I've done workshops there and all kinds of things. And people really are embracing raw food, whether they're doing it full time or not. They're really embracing food. One thing that's good about that book that you have there, Raw Vitalized, is that we have a on Facebook, we have a Raw Vitalized book club. So it's very inspiring to join that, and it helps you if you want to go on this journey and you don't have someone to do it with, you can say, hey, does anybody want to go on this with me? So people will do it for 21 days and then they redo it again, and then they just use all the recipes over and over and over again. Yeah. So I think it's a really a simple book for people to start with.
Yeah, it's a great book. And the diet's great. Yeah. I mean, the foods you have in this book, they make you feel amazing too. Like the raw food diet does in general. It makes you feel good after, full of energy. I feel like that's what food is meant to do. And it really strengthens your immune system, right, too, which I think is really important, especially with what's going on around the world. And I know for me, like I've been raw for over 5 years. I haven't been sick once since I've been raw. So I'm curious, did you ever get sick? So we'll talk about it in a minute. You're not fully raw right now, but you were fully raw for 12 years, right? So did you ever get sick when you were raw?
No colds, no nothing. I can't remember a time when I was down for more than a day, even if I got the sniffles. I think my immune system is very good, which is really important today. I know a lot of health people. I hate to bring up the vaccine, but it's the elephant in the room. And I know a lot of people who are health people that don't want to get it. I understand that, but I also know health people that have been raw for many years, are vegans, all of that, and they still got it. So you have to protect yourself from dying, basically. And even if you get the shot, you could still get it, but you're not going to die. So we don't really know. When we say we have a good immune system and we don't have a cold and we've not been sick, it doesn't mean that we can escape some of the stuff out there. And I don't take vaccines or shots or flu shots or anything. I never have. But I'm saying here that I did take the vaccine, and I'm saying it because I think it's important. You don't know. A friend of mine who wasn't taking it, who had an amazing immune system, we would assume, she's been a very long time eating vegan and raw, and she was in the hospital 3 times. And so I hear this a lot from friends of mine that did not want to get this shot, and they were very, very sick. Luckily, thank God they didn't die, but I do know people who did lose their life, and even very young, 22 and whatever. So you have to, if you stay in the house and you don't want to go anywhere, then okay. But if you're going to be out there right now, particularly, it's really dangerous. So you want to build your immune system. I think mine is very strong. I don't get sick. I wake up without aches and pains. It's not like my family. So I'm just saying this is not genes. I know it's what I've done for myself by eating this way and by exercising and thinking this way. And I think it works. Please do some of it, at least juice every day, eat a salad, try to buy organic. We don't need to have pesticides in our body. Just try to eat the cleanest food possible. And if you can't do it that all the time and you have to eat something else, okay, but try to go back and eat as much raw food as possible. It will give you all the nutrients you need. And I think that's important. And and you want to talk about, is it more expensive? Well, go to a farmer's market, try to buy things there because the prices are usually better. Or at the end of the farmer's market, they'll usually sell things at a discount. So it might cost you a little more to eat this way and eat organic, but you're going to pay doctors when you get old. Just now and take care of it. There's nothing more important. Don't buy the blouse. Don't buy that pair of shoes. Buy the food. Spend the money on the food, because that is going to keep you going. And honestly, I think you should not ever think that it's too expensive to eat this way. You can figure out, I mean, a zucchini's not expensive. Maybe you don't buy some of the prepared raw foods. Maybe you make your own kale chips instead of buying them, whatever. You don't have to spend all that money on the store-bought raw foods. Just go to the produce department and pick up a red pepper and see what that looks like. That thing is gorgeous. You know, you can stuff that with chopped tomatoes and cucumbers and some vegan cheese and, you know, some fresh basil and a little good olive oil. I mean, you've got yourself a great meal. It doesn't have to be an expensive process, but please spend that money on your food instead of stuff.
I agree. It's worth it. And you feel so good and you have so much more energy, and I feel like you accomplish more, and just anyways, it's a good investment. What I'm saying.
It is an investment in your health is really, really important. And I know a lot of people that are concerned about their weight. And I don't like to say it's a good diet, because I don't think diets work, but it is. It works for people. When you're eating raw food and you're doing some exercise, your body will adjust to the right weight. It might be even a little more than you think you need, but it's the right weight for you. You don't want to go past that point where you have to torture yourself in order to eat. I feel like you can eat a lot more food if you like to eat. You can eat, you know, giant salad. I feel you can eat a lot more food when you're eating raw, because there's not many calories in that. And, you know, even in the desserts and even with cashews, those are all things that are giving you nutrients. You're not just eating fat. Avocado, coconut oil, all this stuff people might think are fat, but it's the good fat that your body needs. It's the stuff that does bring down your cholesterol. So don't be worried about weight when you're doing this, and don't worry about calories when you're doing this. If you're eating raw, now if you're vegan, you have to be concerned about that, because there's a lot of vegan food that's you know, pastas and stuff. But when you're eating raw food, you don't have to think about calories. It's not at all, is it? It's like, it doesn't matter what you eat.
I tracked my calories for the first time last week, because a lot of people ask me and I've never tracked them. I have no idea what's what. So they were over 4,000 in a day with all my creamy dressings and how much I eat. I'm really active with my 2 young kids, but I definitely been eating a little bit too much. So people like think I don't get enough calories, but it's definitely enough calories.
Right. Calories are protein. People are worried about your protein. I mean, I can eat an avocado every day. I still don't gain any weight. I don't gain any weight on raw foods. I don't gain weight. It stays pretty much the same. I've been thin a lot of my life, but parts of my life I haven't been at times where I've gained a little weight and I was like, oh, diets are the worst thing in the world. So what you want to eat is for health. If you want to go on a diet, it already puts a negative thing in your mind that something is wrong with you. And we all need to pump ourselves up and love ourselves all the time. You know, people are very insecure. So stop worrying about diet, which to me sounds negative. Like I got to lose weight. I got to lose weight. Just say, I've got to be healthy. I'm eating for health. That switches your head off from thinking that you're not okay. Even if you have a little weight on you, you're okay. And many things do it. Stress does it. Eating improperly does it. But when you're eating raw food, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You're eating for your health. Totally, 100% for your health. That's what raw food is, really. I don't think there's any good as that.
When you went fully raw, what were the biggest changes you noticed? Like the biggest positive changes, the benefits?
Well, I first of all thought I looked younger right away. I looked in the mirror, my skin looked better than ever. My eyes were white, my teeth even seemed whiter. But I think what changed mostly is the way I felt, this energy level that was like a high. And I'm an up person anyway. I'm a high energy person, but this was something different. This was something really pure. It was a pure high that I had. I just felt ageless, basically. And I was in my 60s. I felt ageless. I thought it dropped years off of me. Within 2 weeks, I felt completely different. And then, of course, as it continued, age was not ever an issue for me after that. I never thought about getting older or worried about it or anything. All through my 70s, when people are starting to cut back and think of themselves a certain way, I was going forward. And, you know, as we age, in some ways we get much smarter. Things don't bother us that used to bother us when we were younger. So there's lots of good things that happen when you get older and can only come with age. No matter how smart you think you are at 30, you're not as smart as when you're 80. You learn a lot in life and you go through a lot in life and things don't bother you as much as they used to. So it's a shame that people waste their later years being sick instead of being able to really enjoy this and do anything they want. Like, come on, I wrote 7 books in my 70s. I mean, that is awesome to me. And now I'm painting and selling paintings in my 80s. That's just awesome.
And maybe if you didn't take, sorry to interrupt, but maybe if you didn't take care of yourself and eat this way and eat so well, maybe you wouldn't be doing that.
I wouldn't be. I know I wouldn't be. I wouldn't feel good. You know, I mean, I see older people all the time that don't feel good. They have no energy to do anything. They can hardly get up out of their chair. They're exhausted. My one sister was in a senior home when she was in her late 60s or early 70s. She went into a senior home and I watched how fast people in senior homes get old because the food first all sucks. It's terrible food. Plus they make you feel old and they want to do everything for you because they get paid for, you know, taking you down to your dinner or bringing your food up to you. They charge you for every little thing. And so people get dependent on someone doing things for them. I want to do things for myself. And I love doing things by myself and I love being independent and I'm strong. And my house has 3 levels, 2, 3, 4 levels.
Amazing.
A garage here and then upstairs to the bedroom, then upstairs to the rooftop. And I'm up and down these stairs all day. I never think, oh my God, I'm going to fall or I'm too old for this. Or no, I'm up and down the stairs. I feel great. I'm ageless.
See, I love it because most people think, oh, I've turned a certain age. Like if they're turning 60 or something, they're like, I should think of the future, get a bungalow, downsize to something with no stairs. That's how almost everyone's like that. So I love that about you.
50. When I hear people say they turn 50, it's all over. It's like, oh no, let me just tell you, it just starts. It's so exciting. I met my boyfriend, I was 64 and he was 45.
Now, awesome. Wow.
I think grandma stepped in there or something, but I certainly didn't feel 64. And we've been together 20 years. And he is my equal. I don't feel any different than him. Sometimes I feel younger. He always tells me I wear him out. He's got to trade me in for a 90-year-old. That's what he's always saying.
And is he vegan? Is he vegan or no?
Yes, he's vegan. Well, actually, yeah, he's vegan. He eats. Yeah, sometimes I don't want to say vegetarian because sometimes we'll go out and have some cheese on something, but he's vegan. And when I met him, he was not, and he ate meat. And for about 2 years after we were together, 2.5 years, that's when I found out that my blood pressure and cholesterol high because I went off. I was cooking for him, making everything he wanted. and he was eating meat at the time. And then when I found out I had this, I said, look, I can't do this anymore because I think it hasn't been good for my health. He said, I'm good with it. I love vegetables. You can just steam me up some vegetables. That's great for me. So he started eating what I eat, but he does like more cooked food. And that's probably one of the reasons I do more cooked food, because he likes it. And then I think, okay, well, I might as well eat this. But vegan is definitely important in my household. I won't cook anything or have anything in, but so it's actually easy to be with him. Although I know people have a lot of trouble because they're with someone who's no way giving up their steak. And so this is what I say: cook your food first and have it there. Fix your raw foods or your vegan food, whatever you're eating, have it sitting there while you're fixing the meal for your family. And you'll know that you see your food right there, that you're going to be able to eat this. And then you won't be so tempted to eat it as long as you see it. But if you fix theirs first and then trying to fix yours after, that's a danger zone, because it doesn't happen. I hear over and over and over again, they can't do it. Once they fix that one meal, they're going to end up eating it, even if they don't want it. So fix your food first and have it sitting where you can see it while you're fixing this other food. And it's much, much easier to do it that way.
That's
and listen, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And it doesn't, I think that my family's, I have one daughter who's raw, and my other daughter is mostly, I would say, mostly vegan, but she'll eat something, she'll have a piece of fish occasionally, I guess, pescatarian. I hate this isms
labels
on there.
Yeah.
But I would call her a flexitarian, but she eats mostly that way. My family really knows healthy foods. They grew up eating a lot of it, and so they eat mostly that. I think they're very healthy eaters. But my one daughter eats more like I do. She's raw, the one I wrote that book with. And by the way, my other daughter and I wrote a dog book that's for vegans who want to feed their dog not meat. And we took us a long time to put this book together. We worked with food formulators. We had our recipes. We ran them through the food formulator to make sure that the dog was getting everything they need. And we recommend that you have your dog checked to make sure they're getting their taurine and everything. But this book is for people who do not want to feed their dog animal products. And the oldest, one of the oldest living dogs was 25, was a vegan.
Wow.
So this book is really awesome. It's called The Plant-Based Dog Food Revolution. I recommend it highly for anybody who wants to give their dog more fresh food. Even if you're giving them the other food, you need to include fresh food for their health. So half the dogs get cancer. So if this dog food that they're being fed is so good, why are all the dogs getting sick and dying of human illnesses? They get everything we get. So something's wrong. And so much of that food is so bad for your dog. So you can we've made it very easy. And in fact, it's human grade food. If you want to cook it for your dog and you're a single person, you can eat that food yourself by just putting some more spices in it. It's human. You can eat it. My daughter cooks for her dog and she eats that food. And when my boyfriend was taking the photographs, we let him eat the food afterwards. So he was eating all the dog food. He was laughing. You're giving me dog food. And I said, yeah, but what does it taste like? He said, it's delicious. I would always put a little more seasoning in. But you really do need to give your dog some food. We teach you how to shred carrots and zucchini and stuff on top, and to add that to the dog's food and start taking away some of the other and giving them more of this. But at least not telling you have to feed your dog vegan, although many people do. But you cannot give them table scraps if you're vegan. And if you want to give your dog the best food possible, you can mix this with their other food and do it however you like. But it's a very important book. Plus, it's got amazing photos of the cutest dogs ever.
Yeah.
But the food, the research in there was done completely. And it's a really, really, really good book for anybody who wants to not see what their dog is eating, that dried food or raw meat, which is not good for them. And how to include more vegetables, not only in your own diet with the other books, but in your dog's diet as well.
Yeah. Amazing.
So, yeah.
And
so
I'm curious. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think I've covered it on the books, that they're a wide range from juice to teas to waters and infused to everything, and all the recipes. And they're evergreen. These recipes are not going to go stale. These are raw recipes, and they're good for another, 50 years.
Yeah.
Really,
absolutely. So. And I'm just wondering, when was the last time you had meat? How long have you been vegan for?
Oh my God, a long time. I haven't eaten meat in years, many.
Yeah.
I went raw at 30, and I was working for Mary Tyler Moore at the time, and I went out to pick up lunch for her, and I picked up a couple slices of roast beef for myself, and I took a bite of that, and I got sick thinking that it was flesh. Never thought that before, but I'd been meditating now for a while, and that made me realize everything is energy and everything is connected.
Yeah.
And you can't eat animal flesh. You can't eat animals. You can't you have to know that they're being tortured for you to have this food, and we can live healthy without animal products. So you have to, once you get that in your head, you just don't want to eat that anymore. It's just a flavor for you, but it's a life for an animal. So I started then, and then I was strictly vegetarian. I didn't know vegan. This was 1970 or whatever. Yeah. And I didn't know anything about any of that. There wasn't that much out. There was a co-op I'd shop at, but nobody was really conscious about that kind of thing. And then vegetarian, that's what people started as. So my kids ate cheese and they ate eggs. And I said nothing with a face. We didn't eat animal products, but they had cheese and eggs. And then I finally realized, wait a minute, I saw something somewhere. It said, no, that's the same thing. They're taking the milk from the babies. They take the milk from the mother to give to you, and the babies don't get it. I started reading and seeing all these terrible things. Now there's films. There's so many films out that can educate you. You can look and see all these films about how to, be a better human being on this planet. And then I became a vegan. Then I was a strict vegan the whole time. And I went off one time with somebody, and I ate a hamburger, and I just cried my eyes out afterwards. I couldn't believe I did it. And then I went back, and then I was a vegan forever after that. And that's how it is. Sometimes people go on and off throughout their life, but it's been decades since I ate any meat. But people go on and off, and that's okay. But when you have to make a commitment, this is how you stay on it. You make a commitment to yourself. And the commitment is this for anybody. You want to have the best health possible. You want to feel good about yourself, that you're a good human being on the planet, that you're doing the right things. And once you have a commitment to something, you have a reason to always go back to that. Even though you might go off, because we're human, people do, but you always go back to what's right. And if you can make that commitment to your health and your well-being, that means that everybody around you is going to get some good from that, because you're going to be feeling it yourself. And I think that, kindness, especially now, is so important. And I mean, kindness in everything you do, all the people you meet, we have to find a way to come together. We might not agree on everything, but we have to come together as human beings and know how much we are alike rather than different. And being healthy and wanting your family to be healthy and wanting the planet to be healthy and wanting the best for everybody, that's a common thing, I think, for people. So we have to look at what we have in common, not what we don't have in common. Our politics might be different. Our thinking about the plague that we're having right now, the COVID, that could be a different thing. But we're still humans. We still want the best for people, and we still want people to feel happy and feel loved and all of that. And we have to include that into our daily life. It isn't just food and taking care of your health. It's the whole picture. And to me, if we don't get everybody healthy in some way, we're not doing what we should be doing. But right now, there's lots of us out there. There's lots of us vegans out there, and lots of books out there, and lots of talks out there, and lots of everything out there. It's growing so much. In the 70s, nothing. I had nothing. Now it's like a smorgasbord, because everybody is interested in it. The magazines got it in there. I've written articles for magazines, national magazines, and interviews and all of that. And I've been on national television, Dr. Oz and Rachel Ray and Steve Harvey and the doctors, and, on all these national television shows talking about this subject of raw food and plant-based food. So it's grown. The markets are doing it. And all the businesses that have switched to put some raw food and vegan food and healthier food into their they're doing better than they ever did before business-wise. Restaurants I go to restaurants and they have a lot of vegan choices on the menu, and you can make anything raw. You can get a Chinese chicken salad and say leave the chicken off and put avocado on. You've got a raw salad. You can do it. It's not hard. It's really is not. You can
And
do
I
it.
want to ask, so what do you say to people who say the vegan diet can't be done long term? It will lead to deterioration, because a lot of people say that, right? And I mean, I've done it 5 years. I
Why,
feel yeah,
that's why
exactly.
when you say it and I say it, it's two different things. You're this young girl, right? I'm
Yeah,
this older lady, and I can say it, and you can believe me because that's the way I'm living. And
exactly.
I don't deteriorated. I don't think so. I mean, I might look like I'm in my 80s, but I don't feel deteriorated at all. My body is strong. I just got back from a 5-mile walk. No, I'm not deteriorating, and I'm
No,
in
you
my.
look amazing. And I have to
I'm
ask, did you ever do fruitarian or no?
No, I never
No,
did that.
no.
And I never had anything, obviously. I've got lines on my face and stuff. I've never done anything, any external Botox or I've never done anything external to myself at all,
That's
because
good.
I really wanted to see who I was as I grew older. I didn't want to. I can live with my wrinkles. I can live with this, what I have. I try to use all natural products on anything. I don't wear makeup. I maybe put a little eyeliner on if I'm going to be on TV or something. They want to make me up, but otherwise, I just want to be who I am. I'm letting my hair grow out. You can see the grays coming through. I've decided finally to let that happen. I've been blonde for years. And I love my blonde hair very much, but I just felt like, let's go for it, girl.
I love your long hair too. I'm so glad you have long hair. It looks amazing.
Oh yeah, well that I'm not kind of. A lot of people say, oh, when you get older, you have to cut your hair. No,
Yeah.
I have to. When it's all gray, it's going to be great. The bottom part's not all gray yet, but it's going to be. I love it. I'm loving my gray hair. Who knew
I
that
love
I
it
would?
too. It looks great on you. You look amazing.
I think gray hair is kind of chic looking, especially if you're natural. But first of all, you have to love yourself at every decade. No one wants to get old and creepy, and you don't have to be that way if you don't feel that way. So you're going to age. Let me just say right now, you're going to get wrinkles. You're going to not have your face as
Hmm.
and body as it looked like when you were 20, 30 years old. It's going to happen, but it happens gradually. And then you accept everything that happens to you as you get older. Just accept the change and see the beauty in it. What's the alternative? You die young. I mean, if you're going to, we're all,
Yeah.
you know, you're either going to age or you're going to die young. Well, I would rather age, and I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm just not worried about it. I look in the mirror and I see I'm older. I don't look like I did in my early pictures or something I'll post every once in a while. And I can't even relate to it. And I'm older now. So I have to love myself the way I have to look at myself and say, yeah, I love myself just the way I am. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do. And don't worry about it, and don't
Yeah.
have to do anything. Listen, just because you get a facelift doesn't mean you're going to feel better, because eventually
Hmm.
you're not going to feel better again. You have to get confidence in who you are and love yourself the way you are, because you'll always get more work done on yourself and you'll never be satisfied. And women can do that. I think it's fine if you need to do that. But I think if you work on other things within yourself, those things this doesn't become so important.
Hmm.
This becomes important. This is what's
Hmm.
here and how you feel about what you're doing. Like I could never look in the mirror and just go to my painting studio every day and just paint and never even see myself. That's how I feel, because what
Hmm.
I'm doing is bringing me pleasure more than anything else, more than how I look or anything. And when I'm
Absolutely.
cooking, I'm getting the pleasure of the food. I don't need a mirror in front of me to tell me who I am or who I'm not. I just need to do these things that I love. That tells me everything.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And
Well
if you're not
said.
doing what you love, you better do it, because you got to start now. Do what you love. Don't make excuses. I can
That's
hear them now. I can
yeah.
hear all these, I got kids. I can't. Yes, you can. You can
Hmm.
do something. You can study anything you want online. You want to learn to sing, you want to learn to paint, you want to do anything in the world. You can find a YouTube video.
Hmm.
You can find
Exactly.
something for everything. So even
Yeah.
if you have a job you don't like, find what you like and start studying it.
Yeah.
Start making it part of your life. Don't make
Yeah.
an excuse. Can't do it.
Yeah.
15 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Find the thing that you love and find out how to do it. Learn to
Yeah.
do it. Get better at it.
Yeah.
And that will bring you so much joy more than anything else you do. And
I
then your
couldn't agree
job
more.
should not be your whole life unless it's the work that you do that you absolutely love. But if you're working for a paycheck and you need something else, find that other thing and just do it.
Yeah.
Study
Absolutely.
about it. did night school, wake up a little earlier and do it. Find 10 minutes a day if you need to, but don't not do what you love because you make excuses not to. Don't do it. And then think about the way what you want your life to look at, how you want it to look, and make it that way. And that's all it takes to live a long, healthy life, I think.
Yeah, good advice. And I want to ask you too. So when and why did you stop being fully raw vegan? Because I thought you still were, but you're not. And what is the difference in how you feel? Raw vegan versus eating a bit of cooked vegan?
So I don't know exactly when that happened to me, and I never thought it would. I was raw for life. I can tell you right now, there was never a question in my mind that I would not eat raw food. Never. And are you still there? Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I don't know when it quite happened, but I do know somewhat. I first started to eat a little more cooked food when we were traveling a lot. We were living in Spain for 4 years, just recently in the last few years. And we were traveling back and forth. And sometimes it was just harder for me to get anything that was raw that would fill me up enough. A salad wasn't good enough. A bigger salad wasn't good enough. So then I started to eat some steamed vegetables, like a sweet potato or an artichoke or something. I just felt like I needed something. Only on occasion did I eat that. And then we moved, after we stopped going to Spain, we moved into our new place. And all of a sudden I just started making some cooked food for my boyfriend. And then I said, well, I think I'll eat that tonight. So there it was. Well, first I had trouble digesting. I can tell the food was sitting in my stomach. As you know, but that's raw food. It doesn't sit there. It just digests itself.
So fast.
Then I could feel the food sitting and I go, oh, this is definitely different than eating raw food. I could definitely feel the food was not digesting. But other than that, I felt fine. So I thought it's okay if I want to eat something every once in a while. And that's how it started. And so then it was like, 5% I wasn't eating raw. And then it was 20%, which is what it probably is about now. That's not raw. But I'm eating probably 80% raw because I have juices and I eat salads and I eat, I love salads, my favorite food. I can eat 3 bunches of kale for salad. I love kale. And so I eat a lot of raw food and I eat some cooked food. And I don't know why. And how do I feel? Well, I actually would like to be all raw again. I think that's really good. But for right now, it's not practical for me. It isn't practical because I don't feel like spending time fixing double. My boyfriend does not cook at all. So I'm really concerned that he's going to eat right. So I don't know. I've just kind of been off it. And I do think that maybe I will go back sometime, but maybe not. I don't know. I have my dehydrator here. I still make cookies and crackers, and I'm still doing a lot of the stuff I did when I was raw and just eating a couple of things every once in a while that's not raw. So that's how I went off it. And do I think it makes that much difference? Honestly, no, because now I'm eating things that I'm digesting properly. Like I say, I'm eating, a sweet potato that's cooked, no big deal. I'm eating some vegetables that sometimes I steam, no big deal. I've eaten some tofu, which I find is very good protein. It's only organic, but I didn't eat tofu ever because I didn't think it was good for you. But now I'll eat a little piece of tofu if I go somewhere. And if I'm in a restaurant where they have something I like that's raw, I'll eat it. If not, then I'll take a steamed or cooked something. So I don't think it's that bad because I'm not eating like a normal person would eat, like cooked foods. I'm eating still mostly raw. So my digestion still is very excellent. I still feel like I'm digesting everything.
Good.
So not bad. That's why I've lightened up. And I'm very happy that I have, because I think I've been able to help people eat more raw food. And that's really the main thing. Like, I can't say, okay, people will jump away if you say 100% raw. No, I can't do that, or it's going to be too hard. That's why I want people to ease into it. Don't beat yourself up. Eat as much raw as you can. Plan on eating raw all day and cooking at night, or whatever you can do, but try to eat all raw. And, going on this 21-day thing is very easy for people to do, to eat all raw for 21 days. That's very easy to do. And then afterwards, they might crave something they want. Well, have it. And then go back and eat as much raw as possible. You have to learn to cook enough dishes, as you might know. You have to make a variety of foods in order to stay on anything for any length of time. You have to know how to make yourself a great lasagna or a pizza or some cheese or whatever, you know, you need to know how to make that raw. And it's a different way than cooking than you ever learned from your mama. It's just completely different. So once you learn those things, you can take those into spreading that out throughout your life. You can say, oh, now I know how to make the lasagna in no time at all. I can make stuffed mushrooms at no time at all. I can, whatever it is, you can realize that you can replace those cooked meals with that. So I think it's good to introduce people and let them move at the pace that works for them. And for some of us, going all raw was nothing. Like, I knew I wasn't ever going back after 2 weeks. That's how I felt. And I was all raw. But I never expected anybody else to do that. I always told people it takes you about a year to transition into eating raw, because you'll want to eat other things in between, and you shouldn't need to be guilty. You should just eat as much as possible, or do a 21-day one like that book, and then eat something else. And you can tell the difference the way your body feels. And then maybe you go back on another 10 days or another 21 days. So you have to judge by what your body is telling you. Everybody is different. Everybody is different. And so you need to work out what's best for you. If you have weight to lose or you have an illness, I really recommend raw foods, because that can help you so much, and try to do as much of that as possible. It could really cure diseases. From what I've noticed in people I've worked with, it can cure so many things. And it did for me, and I see it in so many other people. So I would say, if you have anything going, be all raw. That's what I would say. If you're just trying to be healthy, then you can move into it at a different pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you were fully raw, what, I know one of my viewers wanted to know, what did you eat in a typical day? Like, what was your ratio of fruit to veg?
Well, I ate, I had a juice every morning, mostly green, let's say celery, cucumbers, spinach, love spinach in my drinks, a little kale. Sometimes I put a little turmeric, a little garlic in it. I'd have an apple or pineapple for the sweetness. And it was mostly a green drink. I love green drinks. I like other juices, but you know, I love beets and carrots together. I like that, but love green drinks. So mostly green with a little bit of a sweetener of apple or pineapple or something. That's what I'd have in the morning. And then throughout the day before lunch, I would have maybe a piece of fruit, or I'd eat some nuts. I love to snack on a few almonds. That's kind of my favorite, or seeds. I love pumpkin seeds. So I would have a little snack. Or sometimes at midday, some of the recipes that are in that 21-day book, some of those recipes are really great breakfasts, like chia pudding. Love chia pudding.
Me too. It's so good.
I'd have that as a break with some fruit in it, raspberry, whatever berries are fresh. I'd have that. A mango pudding, I would have that for breakfast, because that's just mango and lime and some coconut oil, and then you mix that up and put it in the refrigerator, and it's like a pudding. I love something called apple sunrise. It's just apple and some nut butter, some almond butter in your food processor. It's chopped up so it's sweet from the apple, and it's got the peanut butter in there. And I just love that. I'd make overnight oats. That was a thing that I started to do when I wasn't completely raw, because oats are not raw. But I would make the overnight oats, which is oats and chia seeds and almond milk and stuff like that. Those are the things I would make in between. Always a big salad. I mean, there are so many salads to make. If you want Asian, you can make an Asian dressing with tahini, sesame seeds. You can make a Mexican one. You can make a Southwest one. You can make, I don't know, Italian. There's dressing after dressing after dressing. And I do eat oils. They're good for you. I eat olive oil, and I eat coconut oil, and I eat avocado. So I like those kind of fats. I think they're very good for you. Avocado makes a great dressing. You could put that in the blender. You know, makes a nice, rich, creamy dressing. I love avocado. And so salads to me are great. And I like to chop everything up in it. I can put a lot of vegetables in it, or I can have a simple salad. Either way works for me, just romaine lettuce and something. By the way, my Caesar salad that's in my first book, and I don't know if I have it in Live Raw, but my Caesar salad, I probably get more compliments on that salad than anything else. My Caesar salad, raw Caesar salad, is just awesome. It's so delicious. I still eat that every week. I have the kale salads. I'm really addicted to kale, that dark green. I make those 3 or 4 different ways, and you know, I really love salads for lunch. And for dinner, Okay, stuffed mushroom with pesto, one of my favorites. I love gazpacho soup. I have an amazing gazpacho soup recipe. I just love that for summer. I can live on that. I love my signature dish is lasagna. When I make a dinner for somebody, I'll make them a Caesar salad. I have stuffed mushrooms with pesto in them. Really delicious, made in the dehydrator. I cut my zucchini on a mandolin, so it's very thin slices, and I layer it with a sauce. I layer it with mushrooms, with black raw olives, with a little pesto, with some of my vegan cheeses, and I bake that in the dehydrator, and it's one of my signature dishes, and I love that dish so much. I make some pastas, and I can make a cashew cheese sauce with it. There's just so many things that you can do that's just unbelievable. I make a smoked salmon out of either papaya or thin sliced carrots, and you let it marinate in some smoked thing, a little bay seasoning, some dill, some seaweed, and you let that soak, and then you can dehydrate it, and you can make that on a raw bagel, and you use flaxseed to make those things. I make a great raw bread. I mean, honestly, I could go on forever saying how much, how many different dishes I make. What is your favorite food? Mexican, I can whip up anything in the Mexican realm using chilies and cumin and stuff like that. So it's awesome. You want Asian food, you've got that. I don't know, wherever your taste buds are. And every day it would be something different, I don't plan my menus for the week because I don't have little kids now. So I can say, oh, I feel like eating this today, and then I can make it. It's not like I have to have meals planned out for anything else except myself and my boyfriend. But those are the kinds of foods I would eat. So I try to eat a salad every day. I still do that. To me, I love salads. They're spectacular. And I love soups. I love making soups, and you can do that, like you say, in your Vitamix. It heats it up. So it heats it up just enough. And I make all kinds of vegetable soups, just like you would put juices in there. Broccoli, anything. You can put anything in there, and once it blends up with everything, it's fine. Carrot soups. I don't know. What can I say? It's all delicious to me. I'm so hungry right now.
I won't keep you much longer. I just want to ask you a couple more questions that my subscribers asked. So Zinda asked, please ask Mimi about her sleep. When I eat lots of raw veggies, I have a hard time falling asleep.
Well, first of all, I try not to eat after 7. That's my kind of thing. They don't affect me, but if you have any digestion problem, I don't know how long you've been eating the raw veggies. A lot of people will get digestive problems because they don't have enough enzymes in their stomach to heal that, yet. But the more raw food you eat and the more juices you drink, the more your enzymes take over. We don't make any new enzymes after 30 years old. And when you chew your food, your saliva and the food together make enzymes. So make sure you chew your food until it's liquid. I know that sounds disgusting, but if you don't chew your food before you swallow it until it's liquid, you're not creating those enzymes your body needs. And if you need extra probiotics, you should take that. You should do something if you have that discomfort in your stomach after you eat probiotics. But eat early, and maybe eat more warmed foods later in the day, and eat your salads during the day, so you don't have to worry. Try that if you can't sleep. I have no problem sleeping. I try to eat by 7. Sometimes it's a little later if we have company or we're going out, but I try to eat by 7 o'clock. And so, so you might want to eat more foods that's warmed and a little, you're not really cooking your food over 118 degrees, but you are cooking your food somewhat when you put them in the dehydrator, because it's warming them and they collapse a little bit. So that might be a better thing for you to do, but you just keep doing this because your body will adjust to those raw foods and you'll get enough enzymes. It's usually the enzymes that keep you from digesting.
And do you do intermittent fasting? I know somebody asked that.
I don't do that much anymore. I do fast. Sometimes I'll just say I need a 3-day. I don't plan it. I just do it when my body said, oh, I feel like, I can have a 3-day or 4-day juice cleanse. I can do that, but I don't do it. Now, intermittent fasting, if they need to, I do, yes, because I don't eat after 7, and then I don't have anything till later on in the day. So I have no food from then until I walk in the morning. So probably until 11 or something. So from 7 to 11, there's usually no food in my stomach. So that's that. I call that intermittent fasting. That's not like going on a 3-day fast. But if you leave in, like some people, there's a very good way that some people are eating. They eat for 8 hours, whatever they want within the 8-hour span. Whatever time you start, you end at 8 hours and you don't eat after that. That means the rest of the time is intermittent fasting. So that's a good way to do it. You know, eat your first meal at whatever works for you.
Okay, so Kelly said, and if you don't want to answer this one, then that's okay. Kelly said, please ask her about her sex drive at her age.
Yes, you were going to say that. Yes, it's there.
That's great. That's amazing.
And you know, maybe it's because I have a younger partner. Maybe a guy my age wouldn't feel so sexy, you know. Sometimes men don't when they get older. There are a lot of people, a lot of older people that are still interested in sex. And there are some that are not. And I'll answer that because I went through menopause at 58, very late, and not any signs of anything really, then some hot flashes because I was doing acupuncture. I wasn't raw then, but I was eating healthy and doing acupuncture, and I didn't let my mind take me to any weird places. So I must say I had a very easy transition at that time, and I've never had any issues any other way. I might not be as sexy as I was at 30 and 40, but I have no complaints, you know, for my age, I have no complaints. But some people lose it. They lose their desire, not because their body is telling them to lose it, but it's other things in their life that's losing it. Maybe you need to change something with your mate. Maybe you need to find some young guy that excites you. Maybe you need to find something that excites you again to let you know that you still have that sex drive. And I also think that, you know, I mean, that's an issue for older people. They're just not interested. I know people that aren't interested in eating anymore that are my age. No, let alone sex. They don't even, food doesn't matter to them. You know, your mind can do a lot for you. Your mind can have you do a lot of things rather than staying in a negative place. You can talk yourself into almost anything. And once you feel good, and like I do, and you don't think about age, I don't know, it's just there. It's not an issue.
Amazing.
And by the way, I'll always answer everything. I'm totally
That's great. Well, I know
nothing I'm embarrassed about. It's just all where I'm at. So
I know Jennifer, she asked about menopause, but you talked about that. Have you experienced any muscle loss?
Yes, I'm sure I have, because I didn't exercise enough earlier on. I really didn't like it. I would do yoga for a few months and then I'd stop. I wouldn't do it for months. And then, you know, this is throughout my life. That's how I was. I didn't ever like exercising. I thought it was like just a pain. I didn't like any. Then in my 40s, I guess, I would run on the beach, walk on the beach, and I like that. But it wasn't for exercise. It's because I like walking on the beach. I never liked it. Yoga classes, I like them for a while and then I don't like them again. But when I was 80, I started doing Pilates, which I love, reformer Pilates. I do not like laying on a mat and doing exercise. I hurt myself. I'm very competitive with myself. If you're supposed to put your arm here, I want to get it all the way over there. Just I'm not good at this stuff. But on the reformer, it controlled you. And I think Pilates I just couldn't wait to go to Pilates class. I was able to walk there a few blocks from my house and take Pilates. Then COVID hit and there was no more Pilates. So I just started walking. I have a walking partner. I walk 5 days a week and I walk 4 to 5 miles, 5 days a week. And now I have the mirror. So I'm going to work on my upper body. I love walking now, but you have to exercise. I don't care if you walk 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, 15 minutes out of your house, 15 minutes back. If you don't move it, you are going to have muscle loss. And I do have muscle loss, but I'm working on it to get I feel strong. My legs are great. I even lifted my butt a little bit walking every day. So it's never too late to do something, but now I'm going to work some more on my upper body, because that mirror is so much fun.
Yeah, I got to try that. I've heard about that.
Oh my God. There's we just got it put in the other day. He bought it for Christmas, but we just had it installed. And you stand there and it feels like you're in a class. It's not like the YouTube. Honestly, I can't do that YouTube on a screen. You're standing in front of the mirror. It's like real time. Like you really think you're standing in front of an instructor doing it. It's so fabulous. And there's dance and there's sit down things in case you just want to do upper body stuff. There's floor mat stuff if you want that, which I won't be doing, but I'll be doing all the other stuff. And I did it the other day, and I figure 3 days a week doing that and one walking 5 days a week. I think this will really help me. But don't not work out. Honestly, you have to do it, or you will have muscle loss. If you don't do it, you're gonna have muscle loss. Muscle loss is not coming from my food, by the way. It's not a protein loss. I'm not protein deficient. If Jennifer was asked, is it Jennifer?
Yeah,
she was asking about muscle loss from eating this way. No, look up vegan or raw athletes. I've met them. They're bodybuilders, they're strong guys. There's a football team where most of the people on there are vegan and raw, and they are muscles. And I know extreme runners and guys in London that jump buildings that are muscly as anything. This food is not giving you anything but good stuff. It's not losing your muscles or anything. So these are bodybuilders. One of the strongest men in the world is a raw vegan or vegan. I'm not sure if he's raw. I don't want to say that raw, but he is. But you can have lots of muscles from eating this way. I have some very dear friends that are raw vegan, and they're muscular and they're in great shape, women and men both, and they're raw vegans. So no, you don't lose muscle mass from that. You lose it from not using it. That's what you lose.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to ask you, Glenn asks, I think he's referring to when you were fully raw vegan, but do you make a point of drinking water daily? And what water do you prefer and how much?
Okay, well, water is vital. It's life itself. It's good for everything. And you need to drink it according to your body weight and so forth. I fill up 3 of these big mason jars and I try to drink that. That's why I wrote the tea book, by the way, because sometimes it's hard for people just to drink plain water. They feel like they're forcing themselves. They don't like it. I have cold brew tea in my tea book, Tea Vitalized.
And I'll link your books below too, just so everyone knows the
Tea Vitalized, and my website, because they can buy them there, Amazon, either way.
Perfect.
I'll autograph them if they buy from me. But the Tea Vitalized is such a great book because it tells you how to make cold brew tea for summer. And you're drinking hot teas, which is, of course, those cold brew teas. I make a big jar in a mason jar. I put the tea bags in at night, and I use purified water. I have a Berkey water filter. It's one that sits on the counter. It's a stainless steel. I love it. I just have to change the filters every 6 months or whenever they tell you to, but it's Berkey water. So I use that kind of water, always good water, very important. And I put the tea bags in, 2 or 3, and then I can throw in fruit or something later. And overnight, it slow brews the tea. And please get organic, because you don't want chemicals sitting in water, food that's been sprayed, sitting in your water or juicing. And then it makes your water hibiscus tea. I've got all these herbal teas, and it tells you what they're good for different ailments. It's a great little book. And you make this cold brew tea, keep it in the refrigerator, and I'm telling you, you'll drink more water than ever. It's so important to stay hydrated. And most people are dehydrated and if you're thirsty, that means you're already dehydrated. So you can't wait till you're thirsty to drink water. You have to set yourself up so you drink water throughout the day. Couple glasses, a glass at a time, every couple of hours, 8 glasses, they say you should have water every day. So, at least that. And if you're a guy and you're a bigger guy, then you probably need a little bit more water. But if you make these teas, and they're herbal teas, so they have antioxidants and all these healing properties, and they're cold brew, and you can drink your water that way. Now, I really recommend it. You'll be very addicted once you start doing that, and you won't even think, and you don't need sweetener or anything. It's like drinking water, but only it's got this tea bag, it's got this tea flavor in it. And you can use bags or fresh tea and then strain it either way, wherever you can buy organic tea.
That's a great tip.
Use the ones you love. I mean, and then I serve that a lot of times with ice and fruit in it. And when I have company for dinner and they don't drink, I serve them this herbal tea, these ice brewed teas, and I make them look amazing, and they just love it. So I think that's a really good way to get your water in. And
that's
very
amazing.
Important. And it's a very good question I might ask, because water is vital.
It is. And I just want to ask, Tina asks, do you ever get under the weather? And if you do, what is your health protocol? I know a couple people were asking, do you take antibiotics or prescription meds ever? Like, would
No,
you?
no, I don't need any of those.
Yeah.
I take vitamins for my eyes because I have macular degeneration. That's one thing that whatever that definitely my mom had that. Don't know if that's hereditary or what, where I got it, but they think I didn't get it till later in life because I took care of myself and had lots of antioxidants. But I do have that, but it doesn't stop me from doing anything. By the way, I paint. I don't drive anymore because I have occasional little blackout spots. I can see everything, but if I go to look at your nose, it's not there. I can't see a direct line on something. So I take an eye vitamin called Preservision, and I think it's really kept my eyes at a balance. They haven't gotten worse. I think they've kept my eyes at a balance, but I do have macular degeneration.
Mm-hmm.
Again, nothing stops me from doing anything I want. I'm painting. I'm still chopping vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't see as well, but it's not stopping me. I walk and I don't wear glasses. I can't wear
Mm-hmm.
glasses. They can't seem to fit me for anything. So I
Mm-hmm.
just have learned to live with this the way I see. I don't know any difference now. This is the way I see.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't really take anything. I take a vitamin D tablet 3 times a week, a little capsule, little kind of gel capsule. I take that 3 days a week because I think most people need a D. So I'm not opposed to supplements, and if you need it, but do not take supplements. If you go to the doctor and they run the test and say your B is fine and your
Yeah.
D is fine, don't just take things if you don't need it.
Yeah, I
But
agree. Check and see.
check up every year. If you need it, then you take a supplement. If you don't, why pump yourself with things that your body is already producing? Let
Mm-hmm.
them work a little bit and give you all those things that you need. But do
Mm-hmm.
check it, and don't just pop anything. I think
Mm-hmm.
doctors are good for some things. Naturopathics are good. I go to acupuncture. I try to do that every month or two. I do acupuncture, and just to get my body, keep my body in balance. I get massages I want a massage every 3 weeks. I think you've got to take care of your body. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
really important to you put that time into yourself, and it pays off. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to figure out how and where and how to manage this because
Okay, guys. Well, it looks like we unexpectedly lost Mimi, unfortunately, but I think we had a pretty long interview anyways, and she was absolutely amazing. It was so incredible talking to her today and hearing all her knowledge on raw foods and sort of where she's at in her life. And I just want to say I am sorry if I didn't get all of your questions answered, you guys. I know I had so many from you guys, but we did have such a great conversation anyway. And I truly do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.